8 line. All right, so the Gemara is going to digress a little bit. Good morning, everyone. Sorry, we are at the bottom of Nun Ches Amud Beis, and we know that the Nazir at the end of his term shaves his head. The question is, while we're on the topic of shaving hair, we're going to talk about, can a person, specifically a man, shave the rest of his body? So Amar Rav, Mekel could. Amar Rav, Mekel Adam Kol Gufo Batar. A man is allowed to shave the rest of his body using a razor. Meisve, the Gemara says we have a kasha from a brisa, Hamad or Beisa Shechi, Ubeisa Erva, Hareza Loka. A person who shaves his armpit and his makom erva is subject to malchus. So Rav, what are you talking about? Why is a person allowed to do this? So the Gemara answer is no. Habatar, Hab Misparayim. That brisa that said it's not allowed is referring to a razor. Rav said is halacha with respect to scissors. But the Gemara says, what are you talking about? The Rav Nami Batar come. I mean, Rav just literally said you can do it with a tar. So how are you answering with a razor? So the Gemara answers ke'ein tar. No, what Rav meant to say was you can shave with a scissor ke'ein tar. I mean, you can cut as close as you can, but not literally with a razor. With a razor would be usher. With misparayim ke'ein tar, that would be okay. Okay. You can use a lift and cut on your armpits. Amar of Chia bar Abba. So a very similar halacha. This was said Rav Chia bar Abba Amar of Yochanan. So in the name of Yochanan, Hamaver beisa shechi ubeisa erva loka. One who shaves his armpits or his makom erva is subject to malchus. Meisvei, the Gemara says we have another brisa havaras ser einam medivrei Torah elam medivrei sofrim. This halacha that you're not allowed to shave your armpits or whatever it is not halacha midiraisa. It's just something that was said midrabanan. So how the kasha on Rabbi Yochanan is, how can you tell me that a person subject to malchus it's only a midrabanan? So the Gemara answers, my loka. What is it? What did Rabbi Yochanan mean when he said loka? Nami dekamar midrabanan. He meant malchus mardus. He doesn't mean malchus on a diraisa level. He means malchus on a dirabanan level. Ika da Amri. Some had a slightly different version. We are at the very top line of Nun Tes Amid Aleph. Ika da Amri Amar of Chia Baraba Amar of Yochanan. Hamaver beisa shechi beisa erva. One who shaves your armpit or your makom erva. Loka mishum los yilbash gever simlas isha. Not only this time, not only do you get malchus, but you get malchus because you're in violation of the pasuk lo yilbash gever simlas isha. So now already it's mashma. It's not malchus mardus. Now it's mashma. It's true malchus. You're over a diraisa. So Meisa, the Gemara is going to ask again from the same brisa, Havara Seir Einam Divrei Torah Elam Divrei Sofrim. We have brisa, first a brisa, which seems to suggest that even though it's usher to shave for a man to shave these areas, but it's not a diraisa, it's only a midrabanan. So how do you understand Rabbi Yochanan? So he says, Huda Amarki Haitana. Rabbi Yochanan has a different brisa. Tanya, we have another brisa that says Hamaver b'sa shechi b'sa erva harehu over mishum lo yilvash gever simlas isha. So the bottom line is Rabbi Yochanan has a brisa. So there's basically two different brisas, right? One brisa says that a man to shave it's also midiraisa because of lo yilvash gever simlas isha, and there's another brisa who holds that it's only midrabanan. So the Gemara asks, yeah.
Is there a pasuk for Kol Gufo or
not for a nazir, for a mitzvah, not for a nazir. The nazir only shaves his head. The mitzvah shaves his entire body, including his eyebrows, right? Gabo Sena.
Well, but that's doesn't halal on mitzvah.
That's weird.
No. Right now we're talking about right now we're talking about a regular person. Yeah, not even. The Gemara is actually going to say later on. The nazir only shaves his head. Yeah, only shaves his head. Exactly. So we're a few lines down in the top of Nun Tes Amid Aleph. So now the Gemara just brought brisa that said that a man shaving his body is over the Isser Dioraisa of Lo Yilbash Gever Simlas Isha. But there's another brisa that holds it's only a midrabanan. So the Gemara says Vitana Kama, the Tana of this other brisa, Hi Lo Yilbash Gever my Darish. So what does he do with the pasuk? We know what the other Tana does with the pasuk. He holds it's Asr to shave. What does the Tana who holds that it's only midrabanan to shave? What does he do with the pasuk Lo Yilbash Gever Simlas Isha? Samabayale Lechidatanya. He uses it like this other brisa, which says Lo Yia. So the full pasuk says Lo Yia Kli Gever Al Isha, Lo Yilbash Gever Simlas Isha, Ki Toavat Hashem Elokecha Kol Osei. So the brisa says Lo Yia Kli Gever Al Isha, Mal Tamalom, or what's the pasuk coming to tell me? Im shelo yilbash ish simlas isha isha simlas ish. If you're going to tell me just the pashtus, it means that a man shouldn't wear women's clothes and a woman shouldn't wear men's clothes. So that can't be because kare kvar nemar toeva. The pasuk very clearly calls this a toeva, the ainkan toeva, just cross-dressing, just wearing clothes of the other gender. That wouldn't be a toeva. So that can't be it. Ella, what it must mean is shelo yilbash ish simlas isha v'yeshev bein hanashim. Or v'isha simlas ish v'teshev bein hanashim. You shouldn't wear women's clothes and use that as a pretext to then sit with the women. And the rush is very clear for purposes of znus, meaning there has to be something more than just wearing the clothes. But bottom line is, that's what this other brisa does with that pasuk. He doesn't use it to teach me that it's usher to shave. He uses it to teach me that it's usher to wear the clothing of the other gender and then use it as a pretext for znus, to sit with the other gender and whatever it is. The brisa continues, how do I know that a woman shouldn't wear, a gun or whatever it is? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
And what does he do with the rest of the pasuk? And what does he do with the second half of the pasuk? It says a man shouldn't wear simlas isha. It means that a man shouldn't wear makeup. So I did hear, I didn't look this up inside, but I did hear that there are a lot of contemporary shilas. I think Ravad Yosef has a truth about women, certainly not in the army for sure is okay, but like women that live in some of these dangerous outposts, like can they carry neshek or something like that? Obviously the answer is yes, if you need to. But the point is, if you don't need to, then in theory, halacha l'maisa, it might be a violation.
I'm going to send it on the army WhatsApp.
Wearing guns, yeah, I don't know. Either way, so now we're going to get to Yigal Shaila. So Amar of Nachman, bin Nazir mutter. This entire discussion of men shaving their body here is a regular person. But if you're a Nazir and you're already shaving your head, it's okay. The Rush explains that the entire Isser is if you're doing something for Noi, right? You're trying to beautify yourself, which is what the women do. But if you're a Nazir and you're looking ridiculous, you have a shaved head, then already it's okay. But bottom line, the Gemara says, this is not true that we don't possibly like this. Rav Nachman, even a Nazir cannot shave his body hair. And of course, we're talking about a male Nazir. Amalei Rabbanan, the Rav Shimon bar Abba. Chazina leil Rav Yochanan delestle. I've seen Rav Yochanan in the mikvah. He doesn't have, armpit hair, right? So what's the shot? I thought it's usher to shave. Amar Lahon, so he said, Machmas zikna nashim. No. He didn't shave. He's an older man, and I guess as you get older, some of this hair can fall out. So another anecdote, Hahud is chayev Nikita Kemeder of Ami. There once was a person who was chayev Makas Marjus in the court of Rav Ami. Iglai Beis Shechi, so they took off his shirt to give him the Malchus, and they saw that he had armpit hair, right? So Chazei B'lo Magav, they saw his armpit, and they saw that he didn't shave his armpit. So Amr Lahon Rav Ami, so Rav Ami said when he saw this man, he said, Shavke, he said, leave this guy, no more Malchus for this guy, right? Shavke Dame min Chavrayahu. This person obviously is a chaver, right? This person knows what he's doing. I guess this was something that the Olam was nichshel back in the day. And this was a person who we see is an upstanding yid. He doesn't shave his armpits, so we don't need to give him Malchus. So kind of just a fascinating story. Bayimine Rav.
The tar, using cream or something, does that apply or not?
That's a good question. Yeah, presumably using cream would be like the Misparayim that Rav said, but maybe not. Maybe you get such a close shave that it's like the tar. I don't know. Good question.
Wait, why were they going to give him Malchus?
So that we don't know. I mean, they were going to give him Malchus for something, clearly on a midrabanan level, because Rav Ami had the discretion to say yes, no. But when they saw that he was an upstanding yid, they said, yeah, whatever it was.
Okay.
Either way, Baimene Rav Mirav Chia. So Rav asked Rav Chia this shaila, Mahu legalech, are you allowed to shave? Now it's interesting because the full sugya started with Rav's memra that it was okay. But either way, Rav asked Rav Chia, is a person allowed to shave? Amar le, usher. No, it's usher. So Amar le, so Rav said back to Rav Chia, V'haka gadol. I mean, the bottom line is the hair grows and it's uncomfortable. Like why? Meaning I'm not doing it for noi. It's uncomfortable. I want to shave. So Amar le, bar pachti, son of the wise ones. Zman yeshlo, you only have this here for a certain amount of time, and calls manshu gadol nosher. And by the time it gets uncomfortable, you're at the point, you're old enough where it falls out. I thought it was interesting that I don't know, how do you translate bar pachti. It's like the son of wise ones or something. Is that what it says? Son of nobles, right? So Rav Chia was Rav's uncle from both his mother and his father.
Right.
So it's like he's kind of like complimenting his siblings. Yeah. Either way, Baimine Rav Rav Chia. So on the same topic, Rav asked another kasha to Rav Chia. He said, "Mahu lachoch? Are you allowed to scratch? I mean, okay, you can't shave. Can you scratch your underarm or you know what your makam erba, and maybe hair will fall out?" So Amrle Aser, no, you can't do that either. Big dough Mahu. All right, so I can't scratch directly. Can I scratch it through my clothing? Amrle Mutar. That already is okay. Ikada Amri, those are a different version. Baimine Bitfila the big domai. We know that when you're davening, you're not allowed to touch makom erba. You're not allowed to touch your armpits, but are you allowed to touch it through your clothing? So if you have to scratch or whatever it is, so Amrle Aser, Rav Chia answered that it's Aser, but the Gemara concludes, so if you're itchy, you are allowed to scratch through your clothing. And we will turn the page, start the next Mishnah, and we'll get to the Mishnah at the bottom. So this Mishnah is a continuation. It's worth chazering for 1 second, the first Mishnah in the parak, which had this situation, right? We have two Nazirs, right? And then one of them we know is Tamei Meis. There's someone else that I know, one of you two, but I don't know which one. So now we've got a problem. How are they supposed to do their kabbanos? But the good thing is we do have two people. So the Gemara the Mishnah gave us a whole thing, but the bottom line was this. When it's all said and done, when the dust settles, both of them are going to need to bring their karbanos tahara. One of them is going to have to bring karbanos tuma. We don't know who's who, but we bring 3 sets of karbanos when the dust settles at the end of 60 days. 2 for tahara, 1 for tuma, and then they have all their tanaim, their stipulations, so we can figure it out. The problem is that what this Mishnah is going to address is what happens if one of those 2 guys dies. So we only have one person
To bring to.
but we don't know if he's tamei. That's the
Right.
problem. We don't know. So when you have 2 people, you can, we know one of them. So what do we do about this?
Condition.
Yeah. So it's worth also speaking up before we get started with the Mishnah that the karbanos that a Nazir tahar brings at the end of his Nazirus is different than the karbanos that a Nazir who's tamei brings. Someone who's tahar brings the ola, the chatas, and the shlamim, but it's the olas behema, the chatas behema, and the shlamim. If you're a Nazir tamei, you bring the ola, the chatas, and the asham, but the ola and the chatas aren't a behema, it's a bird. It's a chatas ha'of, and it's a ola ha'of. So it's different karbanos. So it's not as simple as saying, oh, bring the karbanos and make it tonight. It's different karbanos. So you got to know what to do. So that's going to be our shaila. If you're a tamei, if you're a Nazir tamei, you bring an ola ha'of, you bring a chatas ha'of, and you bring an asham. Okay. Meis echad mehen. So we have our 2 Nazirs. One of them is definitely tamei because some guy said so. And but the problem is one of them dies. So now what do? You're left with one Nazir who's a suffix tamei. So Amar Rabbi Yeshua, here's what you got to do. Yivakesh echad min hashuk. You got to find a friend sheyador kenegdo benazir. So you got to find someone who's willing to help you out. So maybe we'll speak this out outside for a second, and then we'll read it inside. I'm going to go over to Yigal, and I'm going to say, Yigal, I've got this problem. I need you to help me. And here's what we're going to do. I'm maybe a suffix tamei. So you're going to agree that you're going to be a Nazir with me for the next 60 days. But here's the thing. We're both not going to drink wine and get haircuts and all that for 2 different Nazir terms. At the end of 30 days, we'll basically stipulate like this. If I was the one that was tamei right now, then you just were a Nazir for the last 30 days. And that way we can bring karbanos and it will have been for you. If it turns out that I was tahar and I was not tamei, so then my karbanos will be for me. You will have just not shaved for 30 days, but you wouldn't have been a Nazir. And then the next 30 days, you'll be the Nazir. So when we bring the set of karbanos again at the end, it will have been for you and not for me. That's kind of our deal. So you got to find a good friend like Yigal. All right. Either way. So again, Yivakesh echad min hashuk sheyador kenegdo benazir va'omer, and this is what you're going to stipulate. In tamei ha'isi, if I was the tamei harei ata nazir miyad, then you are the Nazir for 30 days. V'im tahar ha'isi, and if I was tahar, then harei ata nazir achar shloshim yom. Then you're not going to be the Nazir for this term. You'll be the Nazir for the next term. And what do we do with sofrin shloshim? So now we count 30 days. Meviin karban tuma v'karban tara, and we bring a set of karban tara. Now again, one of the 2 of us will have definitely been a good tahar Nazir, so we can bring the Nazir tahar, and we even bring a karban tamei va'omer, and this is the stipulation that you say. Im ani hu atame, if I was the tame, so then carbon tuma shali, then I had to bring this carbon tuma. The carbon tara shalcha, and the carbon tar would have been for yigal. V'im ani hu atar, and if I was the tar, then carbon tara shali, then the carbon tar would have been for me. The carbon tuma besafik, and then neither of us were a tuma.
Right.
So the carbon tuma would have just been brought besafik, and it's interesting, and we need to really speak this out. Again, there's 3 karbanos that you bring betuma. There's an ola that you're allowed to bring benadava, so that wouldn't be a problem. There's the asham that you just simply can't bring besafik, so we just won't bring that one. And the chatas, normally you can never bring a chatas besafik, but we saw earlier in the Masechta that the olas chatas, the chatas ha'of can be brought besafik, and just no one eats it. You just burn it. So that's what we do over here. We have a suffix whether any of us was tameh, specifically me, because you definitely were in tameh. So we bring the chatas ha'of, no one eats it. That's good enough to allow us to at least shave and move on with life. So that's what we do after 30 days. And then v'sofer and shloshim yom, we wait another 30 days, umavin carbon tara, and then we bring a set of the carbon tara. But Omar, and this is a stipulation, imani hatame, if I was tameh originally, so then carbon tuma shali, then the chatas ha'of and the olas ha'of that we brought 30 days ago, that would have been my carbon tuma. The carbon tara shalcha and the carbonos tar that we brought 30 days ago, that would have been for yigal. Vizeh carbon tarasi, and then this set of carbonos is my carbon tara, and then we're good. And we all move on with life. V'imanihu atar, if I was never tameh, so if I was tahar last time, so carbon tara shali, so then the carbon tar that we brought, the 3 carbonos that we brought last time, that would have been for me. Carbon tuma besafek, the carbon tuma that was a suffix is just for no one, and we brought we brought an ola benadava, we brought a chatas besafek. Vizehu carbon tarascha, and the 3 carbonos that we're bringing now are for yigal, and that's how we can figure this all out if one of the 2 of them dies. Amarle Benzoma says, Umi shomea lo shidor connected benazir. I mean, are you really going to find a yigal? Like, who are we kidding? No one's going to do this with you. This isn't going to work. Ella, so he says, I have another idea. You don't need a friend. Ella maybe chatas ha'of va'olas beheba. At the end of the 30 days, me, myself, bring 2 carbonos. Bring a chatas ha'of, that will suffice in case I was tameh, and now that can allow me to do my tiglachas of tuma. But olas behema, and also bring an olas behema, so if I wasn't tameh, I can bring at least one of my tahar things, which again allows me to shave. The Omer, and this should be the stipulation. In tameh, you see, if I was the tameh, so a chatas mechobasi, so this is a good carbon that I need to bring. The ola nadava, and the ola that I'm bringing should just be an nadava. The im tahara, you see, if I wasn't tameh, so ha'ola mechovasi, so this ola that I'm bringing suffices to allow me to shave my head. The chatas misafik, and the chatas that I'm bringing is just, misafik. And again, no one's going to eat it, and it's obviously b'diavad, but it is, what can we do? The sofer shloshim yom, you count 30 days, and then umevi carbon tara. Once you count your 30 days, now you can bring the full set of the ola, the shlamim, and the chatas, the olas behema, the chatas behema, and the shlamim. The omer, and this is the stipulation. Im tameh hayisi, if I was tameh 30 days ago, so ola rishon and adaba, the ola that I brought then is just an adaba. Vizu chova, and then this whole set of carbonos is going to be my carbonos chova. V'im tahar hayisi, if I was tahar then, so ola rishon chova, the ola that I brought then is a good ola, which again I need it to be a good ola because I shaved my head. I can't be a nazir that shaved for no reason, so I needed to bring a good carbon. Vizu nidava, and then the ola that I'm bringing now is just an adava, vizu shar karbani, and then the chatas and the shlamim that I'm bringing now are for the conclusion of my naziris. So the bottom line is, according to Benzoma, if the person was never tameh, it turns out he will have brought his karbanos piecemeal. He would have brought his ola 30 days ago, and now he's going to bring a shlamim and his chatas 30 days later. So Amar Rabbi Yeshua, so Rabbi Yeshua says to Benzoma, Nim says that maybe karbanos of the chatzayim. This guy's bringing his karbanos piecemeal. I don't like that. But the bottom line is, the Chachamim said, we agree to Benzoma. So again, the Gemara is going to really jump on this last statement of Rav Yeshua. And Rav Yeshua says, Benzoma, I don't like your approach because I don't think people should bring karbanos piecemeal, right? So the Gemara is going to say, I mean, what's wrong with bringing karbanos piecemeal? It is what it is, right? So Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel, you're right. Lo Amar Rabbi Yeshua ela lechadi basat hamid. The reality is Rabbi Yeshua really agreed to that approach, and he likes Benzoma's approach. He only said his whole mahalach to really, liven up shir that day, and he wanted his talmidim to ask him questions and this and that. It's right. It's like the Seder, right? We're just trying to get the Ben to ask, right? But the reality is Rabbi Yeshua really does agree to Ben Zoma's Mahalach. Amr of Nachman as a postscript to this whole sugya said, has a caution Rabbi Yeshua's Mahalach. He said, "My lavele Rabbi Yeshua litkia v'lo l'shuru." According to Rabbi Yeshua's Mahalach, we have two different people that both, me and Yigal, we both need to shave. And if you recall from the Mishnayos of the entire Seder of the Naziros, you have this tenufa. But before you can do the tenufa of the intestines of the shlamim, you have to cook a part of the shlamim. You have to cook the hair underneath, but what's it called, the shela, the cooked foreleg or whatever it is, and you have to do your teglachas. And the concern is that if you have to wait for two people to do all this, there's going to be a lot of time. The intestines are going to spoil. They're sitting out in the zara. They're going to spoil. So the truth is, when faced with this or Ben Zoma's approach, we'd always rather do Ben Zoma's approach.
I was going to say.
So that was the question of Rav Nachman, and I think the Mefarshim struggle. Like, what is Rav Nachman doing? The Gemara literally just said it. Even Rav Yeshua doesn't hold Rav Yeshua. So I don't really know. But that's that. We can do the Mishnah now. It's the very complicated Mishnah. Why don't we just read it? We did it on Sunday, so we'll read it again real quick, and then we can at least tell Yoel that we did it. But Nazir who tameh b'safek umuchla b'safek. What if you have a Nazir who's tameh meis b'safek, and he's also a Metzorah b'safek? So this guy's got a problem, right? Ochel b'kachim achar shishim yom b'shos yayim etameh lamesim achar mea v'esrim yom. And he can, he's only allowed to drink wine and be metameh lamesim after 120 days. How does the math work out? If you are a Metzorah, you need to do two separate teglachases before you cannot be a Metzorah anymore. If you're a Tamei Mace and you're another Tamei, you need a third teglachas before you can start. And obviously, if you're a Nazir at all, you need a teglachas before you're able to drink wine. So the point is, this guy, if he was a Vadai Tamei, a Vadai Metzorah, and of course he's a Vadai Nazir, he would need 4 separate shaves. And the way the timing would work is the Metzorah, you can shave on day 1, you can shave on day 7. Maybe you need to give yourself a little bit of time to then shave for the Tamei Mace. And then you wait 30 days and you're good to go. You shave for the Nazir. The problem is this guy, so the point is the entire process would take you 40 days, whatever it is, 45 days, I don't know. The problem is this guy can't do all those other shavings right away because he's a Nazir and he's only a Suffolk Metzorah, only a Suffolk Tamei Mace. So he's got to wait 30 days before he does each one of those shavings. So he's got to wait 30 days before he does the first shaving of the Metzorah. Then he's got to wait another 30 days to do the second shaving of the Metzorah. Then he's got to wait another 30 days to do the shaving of the Tamei Mace. And that's why we have this 120 days. So the Mishnah just says, to explain, sheteglachas hanega docha teglachas hanazir. If a person is a Vadai Metzorah, so of course that shaving is docha the teglachas of the Nazir, right? This is something that we saw yesterday. We saw a lot of it. The Nazir Metzorah shaves his head. But that's only Bisman Shu Vadai. Bisman Shu Safek Eino Docha. If he's only a Safek, it's not going to be Docha, and therefore we have to wait the 30 days and 30 days and 30 days